Welcome all, Rick Mountjoy here. Today we are going to be talking about a subject that is near and dear to my heart, renovation. And more specifically, what are the things that I can do to get my home sold fast and maximize the amount of money that I have, my budget, to sell my home for the most money. Just a little introduction, I'm the team leader of the Mountjoy Properties Group. As many of you know, we also run a company called Mountjoy Home Buyers and then also Mountjoy Renovations. So we've got quite a good deal of experience with buying, selling, and renovating homes as we've done it for ourselves for investment purposes and then also for our clients and family and friends. So let's get into it. The first thing that we're going to go into, we're going to go kind of from the littlest things to the largest investments. I'm going to give you a price range of what you'd be looking for and also kind of the ranking of how I would, do all of these things from 1 to 7. So the first thing is incredibly important is a professional cleaning. And this may seem very, very simple. But oftentimes if you clean the house, you're not going to get it quite as clean as a crew of people coming in who do this as a profession. Additionally, with professional cleanings, I always recommend to power wash the exterior of the home. This is incredibly, incredibly important as this is the first thing that folks see when they're walking into your home. So power washing is very critical. Another thing that we've got here is light landscaping. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and spend $50,000 on your landscaping, but it is important to do a little freshening up when it comes to your mulch and your shrubbery. This seems basic, but you'd be shocked at how many homeowners just don't do it. So very clean, and also you got your light gardening outside to make sure that the home has got the most appeal. Because remember, if I can smell it, I can't sell it. And so cleaning the house is absolutely critical. You'd be shocked at how many folks walk into a home and their first opinion is, oh my goodness, this house is disgusting. We don't want that to be your home. Number 2, seems like a small thing, but it's something that you touch and that buyers see, and those are modern door handles. So a lot of folks still have the kind of the outdated brass that was so popular back in the late 90s and the early 2000s. This is a small thing that could make a huge difference in selling your property. In fact, I always recommend it because it's a very small investment to make, and it makes a huge difference when your folks are walking through the house, seeing and making sure that things match. Our buyer today has just got different tastes than what we had 15 to 20 years ago. So we want to cater to that. One of the things that we can look into is nickel or brushed nickel. These are very popular. This is something that you could do yourself or have a contractor do. It's very, very cheap. You could spend $500 to $1,000 at the very high end adding doorknobs, and it makes a very large difference, let me tell you. Second thing I wrote down was lighting fixtures. Lighting fixtures are also very incredible. The same thing here. A lot of the lighting fixtures of the olden days were brass, and they're not quite as modern and as sleek as what our modern buyers are looking for. So this is something else that could make a huge difference because that's what people are seeing. So one of the things that we always recommend is to do LED lighting throughout the house. It just makes the house brighter, and folks really appreciate that. Number 3. You've got carpet and hardwoods, basically flooring. So carpet is one of the biggest things in the house that traps smell. So we want to be very, very aware of this. Carpet is one of those things that the other thing that we see is when you pull off the carpet, you've got the indentions in the carpet, you may have stains. Buyers kind of see this as the home being dirty. Even if the carpet's been professionally cleaned, a lot of times you can't get out all the stains. So this is a huge one. If you can afford to do it, a lot of times carpet, depending on the size of your house, is between $1,500 to $5,000, depending on how much carpet, the quality of the carpet, and then also the pad. The pad is a big thing too. So a lot of times you can buy an expensive pad and cheaper carpet. So that's something that we always recommend because it feels far more plush when you're walking on the carpet. So a pretty small investment for the amount of bang that you get for brand new carpet. Just smells better, it feels different on your feet when you're walking through the house. This is definitely something that I would recommend. The second thing of flooring would be hardwood floors. So hardwood floors, if you bought your home back in the early 2000s or before, chances are you've got dirt in the cracks in the joints of the hardwood. And if you have pets like I do, I got two big 100-pound chocolate labs, they destroy hardwood. And so what I always recommend is to refinish the hardwood. And this can be done in as little as a couple of days. The cost on something like this ranges from $3,000 to $8,000, depending on the amount of hardwood that that you've got. But this could literally transform your home. It can absolutely make a huge difference. Hardwood floors look tremendous. The pictures look great. Can't recommend refinishing the hardwood enough. This is an investment that I would definitely make. The second thing is tile. I'm sorry, the third thing is tile. So depending on what kind of condition your tile is in, we want to make sure that this tile is as clean as possible. This includes the grout. Now, grout can be an absolute pain in the neck to get the dirt out, and sometimes it just will not come out. And in that case, you may want to consider changing up the tile. Tile is another thing that's changed. A lot of folks back in the early 2000s, late 90s, were putting in 12 by 12 tile. Today, there's a lot of different tiles that are in style. The long plank tile is one that we always recommend. In homes today, we want to be light, light, light. Now, back in the early 2000s, the big thing was your tans and your browns, and we see that in hardwood as well. And so if you're able to do a lighter tile, and maybe you do different lengths of tile, or you do the long plank tile, this is really going to resonate with the buyer. Now, like I mentioned, tile can range significantly as well, depending on the cost, the size of the tile, the type of tile that you buy. But this is definitely something. The cleaning is certainly something that I would recommend before you list. Major bang for your buck when it comes to cleaning the tile. So the fourth thing is the most important. The fourth upgrade that you can do is the absolute most important upgrade that you can do in your house before selling, and that is paint. We have taken homes that have not had any upgrades at all, that were built in the 50s, that had been neglected, and we refinished the floors and we painted, and we got top dollar for an as-is home with as-is kitchens and baths. A new coat of paint could literally change a home like you would not believe. Painting can be expensive, and I admit that. But if you're going to do one thing in your house, just one thing, make it paint. Paint smells great. So when you walk into a new home, you've got that fresh smell, that new home smell, and buyers love that. So one thing that I always recommend when we're painting our home is please don't pick a color that is going to be outlandish or that you love. Let's go neutral, neutral, neutral. So what we always do is sort of a grayish, which is a gray beige color. One of the colors that I always recommend to our clients is called Accessible Beige by Sherwin-Williams. We have painted probably 100 homes with this color, and we have had wonderful success. It shows great in photos. Buyers love it. It's neutral. Can't recommend that paint color enough. And being that it's a Sherwin-Williams paint, it's very reasonable. It's easy to paint over everything. Paint, paint, paint. Like I said, that is the one thing that you can do to your home that is going to return the most money, get the most views on your home, get the most folks through, and ultimately get your home sold. The cost for paint, so it varies so greatly. If you've got a 10,000, 15,000 square foot house, your paint could be over $20,000. What we generally see on your average home here in the Northern Virginia area is between $4,000 and $5,000, depending on the size of your home. But paint is something that if you're going to spend a little bit of money, paint your home. It's worth it. So number 5 is a home inspection issue that we see very frequently, and that is the roof. The roof is also something that is right there when you first walk into the house. And so we always say to either clean the roof, so power wash the roof, or replace it, depending on the age of the home. Once the roof starts to get over 16, 17, 18 years old, it's probably time to start thinking about replacing the roof. And also a buyer at that point, it's one of those things that is going to come up in the home inspection, and a brand new roof can change the look of the outside of the home big time. So this is something that we recommend at least looking at. Look at your budget. It's not nearly as important as a couple of the next items that we're going to talk about, and then also the paint and the flooring. But a roof is certainly something that you may want to have inspected and or replaced depending on the age of the roof. So number 6 are baths. So baths are very, very important as well. So for us, it goes paint, flooring, and then baths, and then lastly, which is kitchens, which we'll go over next. But baths are incredibly important, and I can't tell you, how much brand new tile can go, how far that can go in your home. So, whether that you're going to keep the original vanity and just replace the tile. Replacing the tile in the baths makes a huge difference. A lot of times, if you bought new construction years ago, you've got that small white 6x6 tile. We all know what we're talking about, the builder grade tile. If you can change that out for a 12x12 tile, it can be a very cheap 12x12 tile or a long plank, something a little fancier. We always recommend that. But anything besides that 6x6 tile, the builder grade tile, is going to make a huge difference. And if you've got the 12x12 tile, you're going to be considered upgraded. And so that's something that we can put on the listing, and it's something that we can point out to our new buyers. New tile in a bathroom can be as little as $1,000 depending on the size of your bath. And so it's certainly something that I would look into. The average cost of replacing everything in a bath is about $5,000 per bathroom. So if you've got 4 bathrooms, it can get quite pricey. It could be $20,000 or so. So you don't have to do all of that. But like I mentioned, freshening up that bathroom with some new paint, some new tile, and even getting rid of, depending on your price point of the home, getting rid of that builder grade cultured marble. We all know what that is, the very thin white piece of cultured marble that's in a lot of the bathrooms. It's a builder standard, and we see it quite frequently in homes. Upgrading that to a small piece of granite makes a huge difference, especially in the photos, because that's something that's going to jump out at your buyer's eyes on the different realty websites. Is going to be that brand new granite. So certainly something that we recommend. Like I said, about $5,000 is an average for the bathrooms. The last thing, and it's near and dear to everyone's heart, is the kitchen. And so this is what sells homes. This is what gets top dollar. This is what makes everyone drool: the kitchen. It also happens to be the most expensive thing in your house. Kitchens can range from anywhere from $15,000 to $100,000, depending on how big your house is and the different types of features and materials that you use in your house. So what we recommend at a very minimum is to make sure that your cabinets are in good shape. So if they're kind of builder grade, meaning that they're kind of that old oak color, a lot of times what we'll recommend to do is paint or replace the cabinets. And that's painting them is something that you can do that is reasonable in price. The other thing that you can do is to replace those old white or black appliances that you've had for 20 years. This makes a huge difference having stainless steel. You can get brand new stainless steel appliances in a package, all 4 units: microwave, dishwasher, refrigerator, and oven. You can get all of these for like $2,500 to $3,500. I mean, it's crazy how cheap you can get them now, especially if you do a little bit of shopping. And so this is something that we heavily recommend because it shows well in photos, and ultimately your buyers love to see this. Because remember, kitchens what sell homes. One of the biggest things, at least. So another thing that you can consider is if you've got like a Formica countertop, or your granite is kind of old and outdated, putting some sort of really bright white or like a kind of just an airy colored granite or silestone is going to make a huge difference in our photos. So that would be something that I would heavily recommend. Granite can be anywhere, depending on the size of your kitchen, can be anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000. Also depend on the type of stone that you use. So it could be marble, silestone. Those are going to be more expensive. But granite has gotten quite reasonable to install. So it's certainly something that I would look into. Obviously, painting your kitchen, and then checking out your tile, like we've mentioned, cleaning the grout, cleaning the tile, and or replacing the tile. So what we really like to see, and what a lot of buyers like to see nowadays, is whatever your main level is, whether that be all tile or all hardwood, we like to see that in the kitchen as well. And this might not be as functional as having tile in the kitchen, but it shows really in the photos, and buyers nowadays love to see this. So we always recommend, if you've got it in your budget, put the hardwood in the kitchen. Shows great, and it also matches the rest of the main floor. So these are the 7 main upgrades you can make in your home. And so if you have any questions about the different types of upgrades that you can do to your home, just say that you want an estimate of what to do, or say that you haven't touched your house in 30 to 50 years, call me. This is what we do professionally. We rehab and flip homes, and we also deal with a lot of folks who are trying to sell or make a decision whether or not the investment is worth the money. So what we'll do is we'll actually create a spreadsheet for you where it's going to show you an as-is price, so what I can get for my home, what I'm going to net for my home in an as-is condition, and then also a renovated price. So we're going to give you kind of a quote of what it's going to cost, whether we were to do the work or a third party was to do the work, show you a net sheet, help you make great decisions. There is one last thing that I'd like to talk about that would help with getting the maximum dollar besides these renovations, and that's staging. Staging is very, very critical when it comes to whether it's staging your own furniture or putting in an actual professional stager, having them come in, bring in their furniture. I guarantee you, your house will sell for more money and for faster if you put in staging. It can be a little pricey. It can be 25 to $3,000. It could be even higher depending on the size of your home. But this is something that I always recommend. In every one of our rehab projects, we always stage the house because we know that it's going to get more money staged and it's going to sell faster. And also our photos are going to look phenomenal. This is something that we provide as a benefit to all of our realty clients. And that is, we pay for a stager to come into your home and to stage and give you an analysis of what that cost. Now, obviously, to bring in the furniture, that would be something that the homeowner would be renting from the stager, but the actual consultation is on us. So, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. We see ourselves as absolute experts when it comes to evaluating whether or not to sell the house in as-is condition or to renovate. We've got our finger, on the pulse of what things cost, since we do this every single month, every year. So ultimately, if you've got questions, reach out to me directly. I can give you a free consultation, a free estimate, and like I said, help you make the right choice for selling your home. You can find us online at mountjoyproperties.com. Alternatively, if you want to see some of our renovation projects, please go to themountjoygroup.com. Once again, that's mountjoygroup.com. And if you want to speak to me directly, just shoot me a call at 571-218-0257. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope it brought you value. Please get in touch with me and have a wonderful day.